6:30 PM, Monday, May 13th, 2024. It's the Board of Sewer and Water Commission of the Town of Walpole at the E.J. Delaney plant. They're having our posted meeting, and we do have a posted agenda. And the first item, Leah, do you mind waiting a few minutes, or do you want?
I'm good.
You have some time? Okay. First item is the minutes from April 22nd. Does anyone have any questions about those minutes?
I didn't notice anything to change,
Okay.
so I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of April 22nd.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
I know there were 5 accounts, and I'd like to ask the superintendent if the number still is 5, or is it increased or something?
You're jumping ahead. There's 9.
9, okay, very good. All right.
There's 9, okay. Is that a correction in the minutes, or?
No, that's not a correction, that's just,
All right, so it's moved and seconded.
yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye,
Abstained? 4-0. Okay. Now we have, is your superintendent report brief, Scott, or?
Yes.
Okay, we'll zip through this, and then we'll have Weston and Sampson, represented by Leah Stanton.
So we
Go
had
ahead.
2 service leaks, one April 30th, Kinley Road, one May 2nd on Old Lane.
here, Scott, you need a mic.
No issues with the MTUs to report. Pilot program is now up to 70 installs, and it's still running good. There are 9 people using the app, and other than that, we're doing our routine tasks and maintenance.
What does using the app mean?
It means they've signed up for it. There are 9 people that actually
Okay.
have signed up. They are able to see the system there,
Okay.
their usage.
9, that's so, actually, there's 79 people.
No, 9 of those 70 are using the app,
Oh.
or have the capability of using it.
Okay.
Does that count any of the
The
commissioners?
3 commissioners.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I want to be the 4th, but I gotta need some babysitting from a staff member to help me
Sure.
because of my senior status.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. That's it?
That's it.
Homewood, what about Homewood?
Has a service leak on it, April
Service
30th.
leak?
Yeah,
Hey, where are they leaking on the surface?
it depends.
No, where did this one leak?
I don't know on that one.
Huh?
I don't know on that one.
Okay. I'm just curious if it's a corporation or the sidewalk, or which one it was.
Yeah, I can include those details if you want in the future.
Did you dig the street?
We did the,
So it's probably a corporation.
but if you want that level of detail, I can
Well, I'm
include it.
just curious. The pH is still 7.3,
No, it's more like 8.3.
8.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting residual, I want to say, it looks like lime on joints. Like when I was taking apart the garden hose, I could see that there was corrosion, and it's not corrosion, but it looks like corrosion.
It's minerals.
It's minerals, that's what it is. Did we change something, or are we using
We haven't
different?
changed anything.
Okay, but I never saw that before, and I'm seeing it now, just for your information, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right. Moving right along, we're going to get to appointments. Leah Stanton, I would just say one thing. We did get a late letter from Wall Street Development, and I just want to address that letter. It relates to minutes from April 8th, so we'll do that under old business. But we'll go to our, if you don't mind starting a little bit early, Leah?
Oh, I'm good, whenever you're
Yeah,
done.
okay, we're ready for you, I think. Do you have anything for the monitor, for the screen, or?
I do not. I
Okay.
sent some stuff last week
Yep.
for your packet. So, I mean, I'll open it up to you. Do you all have questions? Do you have specific things that you want to cover tonight? We have a meeting on June 4th, right?
Where do we stand with the Water Resources Commission?
We need to put in an application for the alternatives analysis. And we feel that we're a little bit in limbo land right now because we're not sure how the town wants to use, how we're going to flavor this interconnection. So the permitting for this is not going to be super straightforward, right? If you look at the MIPA EIR requirements, they say that the town needs to have exhausted all of the internal water supply opportunities that they have. And then if you go and you look at the MWRA application, they say that you can't abandon any of your sources, right? So there's some discrepancies that we need to work through as part of the permitting process. And the alternatives analysis needs to speak a pretty clear approach. In our opinion, we need to be pretty clear with what we're planning on using this connection for and how we're planning on using it. And I'm not sure I know exactly how that is right now, right? So we're talking about either having it to use 1 MGD of water from the MWRA wheeling through Norwood, or we're talking about it as an emergency interconnection that we use when we need it. And I do think we need to, our story needs to be kind of ironed out on that. So the alternatives analysis, we have until June, the beginning of June, to submit that as part of the permit application that was published, which we can do, but we need to know that for that application. So,
Well, all right, so let's get into it. Then I have basically, there's been meetings, and I don't know which meetings you have been in, or if you've talked to Stantec or you've talked to anybody on the other side. But the conundrum is that we've been getting these haywire figures from our town administrator about the project. And we don't really understand that. It doesn't seem to sync with what we've been told in the past. And that's what's causing a hesitation. And I love how when things get foggy, that people rush to make a decision. If I'm still chairman, no way in hell we're gonna have a meeting June 4th until these questions get cleared up on the people who work full-time on this, which is you and the town administration, not the commissioners. I mean, and I don't know if you got this feedback, there seems to be a couple other avenues to get MWRA water. One through to Canton, through the golf course to Walpole, and also one through Route 95 through their easement directly from the MWRA to Walpole. And I'm told that distance would probably involve piping of $2-point-something million to run directly from the MWRA to Walpole down the Route 95 corridor from the state of Massachusetts. And Walpole can go play with their own pipes. So, I mean, there's alternatives, which the estimates are just what's throwing us. And you attached something. Is this your page or? Yeah, okay. Well, just for example, you've got engineering and permitting for $500,000, depending whether it's an emergency connection or this connection we've been talking about, which is, I don't understand that. I thought we already had an emergency connection
We do.
on Union Street. So I don't know what that last column doesn't seem to get us anything, as far as I'm concerned. That's like the biggest bunch of nothing burger I've ever seen.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something while we're talking about emergency? Leah, you know that in emergency, we can connect to water sources that we need to connect to if it's an emergency by state law. So I don't even know why that's in there. because it's not emergency water versus supplemental supply. It is, we were looking for supplemental supply. I mean, I'm sure we weren't looking for emergency connections, because we have those. So I don't even know why that's on here, or why we're even
Yeah.
talking about that.
So,
Do you want me to answer these one at a time, or do you want to
Well, I didn't
finish
ask
your
a
question?
question,
and then-
except why are we talking about emergency versus supplemental when we already have emergency rights to the water?
well, let me ask her, did someone bring this up to you about an emergency connection? How did that even get on here? Because
Okay.
we never discussed that. The town administrator put it in his email to us.
You have connections, interconnections with other communities that you can use for emergency, 100%. In order to use them, you will need to put in equipment. You'll have to pump, you'll have to pipe, there will be work that needs to do. So what we're talking about doing is we're talking about building a pump station that can be used literally at the click of a button. You'll be able to move water into Walpole through Norwood through this connection. So the engineering and permitting, which is line 1, is for, we currently are under contract for $250,000 for the permitting. And it was just a time and materials contract to keep us moving. We've spent about $75,000 of that. That includes Stantec's modeling, which was half of that. And that is the number that we have said we thought we would need to get through the permitting process, which is the MEPA and the environmental impact report and some of the MWRA permitting. The other part of that is the pump station and pipeline design, which we're not under contract for, and we haven't given you a proposal for, because I wanted to make sure we needed to make sure that's where we wanted it, and that's what we wanted to do. So that is the makeup of that $500,000 line for engineering.
Well, you're saying, so you need a pump station for emergency connection? That's what I heard you say.
These are very preliminary numbers that we were asked
Okay.
to give in order to enlighten and have conversations about things, which is what we did.
All right.
In the conversation that we had, I said that Sharon did this with Norwood and MWRA. They have a pump station that they built for $3 million 4 or 5 years ago, and the improvement on the Norwood system was about $1 million. They participated in roughly $1 million of improvements in the town of Norwood. So then when we went through this, and the only difference between us in that situation is 5 years, which I do think is significant, and also the fact that we're coming in wanting water. We don't want to just stand by and have it for emergency purposes. We want to be able to we're going to build it and we want to use it. So it is unfortunate that when Norwood came back to us, that figure was the improvements that they need to make in their system in order to reliably give the town of Walpole 1 MGD of water, they're basically saying is going to cost $8 million.
So,
All right, hold on, Patrick. Well, first of all, okay, we get these different things here. We've got data from Sharon that the pump station costs less than $3 million, and that the $1 million is spread over 10 years. They pay $100,000 a year. They didn't pay anything up front. And quite frankly, if we're making a deal with a town that's gonna put water pipes in over a period of 20 years, why in the hell would we have to pay them for all the pipes on day one? Since the pipes aren't even gonna be in for 20 years.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, I don't think that's a question that Leah can answer.
Well, she's the
I
engineer.
understand where you're coming from, but that's an issue between the two communities. Okay, that needs to be hashed out. It's not an engineering thing.
Yeah.
So I
Okay,
think it's
no, you're
unfair
right.
to try to get Leah to
All right,
answer that.
well, here's the thing is, Leah, the way and I think I understand the consensus of the commission is, and I think Rick is on board with this, we have a stressed basin, we have older wells that are in a more mature stage of life cycle, we have a lot of things going on in the town that's gonna have more demand, we have PFAS threats, and we really would love redundancy for the community and for the future. And we're willing to pay a reasonable amount for that. I think what happens is, it seems that they've stated this to such a high figure, it would not pass town meeting. Okay, and it's not that town meeting has any common sense about that, but I think we're the consensus. If people really want to stick to these inflated figures of $15 million, the commission probably would think more about the well of Minebrook 4, or one of the other, another well. I don't really see that there is an alternative for what we want to do other than that. But I would like to finish, and this isn't on you, but just so you understand what we're thinking. I would like to, if this is a figure you've got paperwork on of if you do Minebrook, it's 4.6, is it, for current pricing?
4.2 or something like that.
4.2. So I would, and I think maybe the commission will have to do this, because I'd like to hear it from the horse's mouth. So if we talk to Norwood, and they have the opportunity to get $4.2 million from us to help in their pipe program versus zero, and they're gonna say no, and I would just say, if you're asking that much, we're gonna have to put in a well, because that's what the well's worth to us. So if you want to play ball with Walpole and get $4.2 million towards your piping, let's play nice and do a deal. Because otherwise, the wheeling thing is baloney. A lot of the other figures, they're just exaggerations. And I understand, whatever we do, what we pump, it's gonna cost to pump what we pump, whether we're pumping it from a new well or from Mile Street for a connection or whatever it is. I get that part. So that's really almost, that's out of the equation as far as analyzing from this side of the table. But what I can't get my arms around, and why one community has the right to get water, they're getting $100,000 a year for 10 years. For us, they're blowing us out of the water with this figure. And I think Rick Mattson thought it was exorbitant.
I do.
And I think we do too. But the logic escapes me of why Norwood would, and I don't know, just because maybe we haven't given the alternative of, maybe they think we're a captive client. And I would rather actually explore with Canton and explore with the state transportation department the two other routes to be more economical, so that our town feels that they're getting the best value for the dollar, for the ratepayer's dollar ultimately.
So I would say if we could run a pipe down the 95 corridor for $2 million, we should probably start tonight.
2.5, yeah.
Okay, do you know where that number came from, John?
I asked the
Because
contractor for 2 miles of pipe down Route 95, somewhat unobstructed, because there's no
So
intersections.
I was unaware that they even had infrastructure on 95. I don't believe they do.
Well, they have it in Canton. Where does it connect? Where does it connect?
Canton's more than 2 miles from home.
Currently, well, you have to look at their maps, from what I know.
Closest
they're telling you
MWRA
redundant-
connection is in Norwood on the Westwood line at, what's the
The
industrial?
Gulf?
The industrial park where UPS is.
University-
Above Route 1.
Yeah.
University Ave.
So if the MWA is at University Ave, then that would be a different highway. We'd have to get it from the Route 1.
You're talking tens of millions of dollars, John. Easily.
Well, I look at a map of Canton, I look at the golf course, and I see the distance there from if the golf course gave us an easement, we'd get right to Walpole.
How?
I'm happy to share the MWRA maps with you. In fact, I thought I had, and we did look at this, and the closest way to get water into Walpole from the MWRA is Norwood.
We
And
know-
there isn't
but
much
no, it's
else.
unreasonable, so we have to look at Plan B. What's the next best?
We can certainly look at that, John.
And I'm not trying to, and maybe there isn't one, and that's okay. If we feel we've exhausted our resources, and we have to go to Minebrook Forum, we have to gear up to do that. It's better for your company, it's more engineering expensive and everything. But I just want to make sure we do our due diligence to make this effort, because I think it's a huge mistake. I think in the future, 50 years from now, the MWR is going to be long closed, and we're going to be a happy system, and we're going to be out in the cold with all this PFAS and garbage. And I can't convince people that. They look in the rearview mirror, they're all thinking about dollars and cents, rubbing two nickels together. They'll spend 20 million on a soccer field up across from the prison, but, you know, as far as water for the future, for the next 100 years of the town, no, it's not worth
Yeah,
it.
just for the record, I don't believe the soccer field was anywhere near $20 million. But in any event,
19 million,
I disagree.
the rec place.
Okay, so anyway, back to the MWRA connection. Have you seen what Weymouth is going to incur for costs for MWRA connection?
No. I haven't.
It's like $130 million.
But that they will be.
So if the commission is willing to spend the $14-15 million, I don't think anybody has a problem with that, provided that you're responsible enough to set the rate accordingly and pay for it. I think that's the reluctance on some others to throw their support behind it.
Well, I personally am not the advocate for zero rate increases, et cetera, because we're in an inflationary economy and we're in an inflationary environment, and we have to face up to that. On the other hand, as a conservative, I know there are people in government who want to make water expensive that doesn't have to be expensive. And I think that people want water to be a scarce resource, and it isn't a scarce resource in Massachusetts. The MWRA pumps how much to waste, almost as much as Boston uses every day.
It's actually a
into
little bit
Boston
more.
Harbor. So we have a plethora of water, and it should cost almost nothing. But the damn government hierarchy, not the town of Walpole, is trying everything they can to make it as difficult and expensive to get water. Okay, and I don't buy that, I don't get it, but I think we're here to try to find a solution, and I wait another year working on this to make sure we get the right one. It doesn't have to be by June 4th, whatever the hell that's somebody rushing to judgment just for a no vote. But that no vote doesn't solve anything. It just kicks the can down the road. We have the same stress base, and we have the same problems and the same headaches coming down the road.
Well, I don't think anybody's necessarily looking for a no vote, Mr. Chairman. I think what the intent is to get all the stakeholders in one room and hash it out. If we can come to a consensus, if everybody in town can come to a consensus that 10 million, 12 million, 14 million, whatever it is the right worth of that 1 million gallons,
The
then I
number.
don't see anybody
I-
arguing. Excuse me, I'm not
yeah.
done.
No, I'm stopping you.
Excuse me, I'm not done. I'm
No, you're
done,
not,
Commissioner.
you're putting a number $14 million, which is wrong. That's why I'm stopping you.
How do
Don't
you
do
know
it.
it's wrong?
You're
How do you
saying
know it's
$14
wrong?
million, where do you get that number, $14 million?
Read the memo,
Which memo?
the one that you asked to put on the agenda.
This is her number, $14 million.
No, the memo that you asked to put on the agenda.
Okay. And where is it says it's $14 million?
If you take all things considered, the Norwood connection and our costs, it's close to $14 million.
No, it says that we have to pay 20% wheeling charges per year. That's not $14 million.
Okay, so what's the point?
Yeah, point is you're just throwing the numbers. You don't have the real numbers.
What is the real number?
You tell me.
Well, you seem to know.
No, you are telling a number which does not match.
We've estimated that 14 million is the capital, the cost to construct these facilities.
Yeah, I believe it was 8 for Walpole and 5.5 for Norwood.
And you're right, it's never over until it's built, right? But it's just an estimate. But I think it's as good as we have right now. And
So,
it's as
so
good as
one
we're
more,
gonna
one more
get.
thing I have a point to say is, you want us to pay Norwood $7.9 million and then want to pay 20% wheeling charges also both?
I don't want anything.
no, that's-
I
that's
just
what the
wanna
proposal
serve
is,
you
the
all
14.
and give you what you
No
want.
one wants you to pay that.
Yeah, so
So-
what kind of business is
If we
that?
could get it for zero, we'd love to get it
It
for
would
zero.
be better.
I just talked to, Steve did a study, water rate comparisons.
Right.
Okay. Now, his study shows that the water rates of Walpole compare favorably to Norwood, unlike we were told maybe Norwood had lower rates. Essentially, they're almost on a par. Would you say that's correct?
I think they're within a few percent of each other.
Yeah. So Norwood marks their water up approximately 20-some to 30% from their cost from the MWRA. We're getting the water at the MWRA through Norwood with 20% wheeling fee, which means our rate should be lower than the residents of Norwood are paying, which means we'll be delivering water at a lower price to the residents than they're paying now.
Yeah, but
So there's no 20%, this 20% is totally fabricated. 20%, the contingency fee and the wheeling fee are just
John,
fabricated.
okay, so,
We got that number from Norwood.
okay, so I think we're confusing. It's 20% on the wholesale MWRA cost, okay? So if the MWRA is paying $4,500 per million gallons, the town of Walpole will pay 20% on top of that. And that is a real, I mean, we could argue about 20%, 15%, 16%, but it isn't zero. Because when they take water, their system loses water, they have fees associated with it. It's in the ballpark.
And it's after paying $7.9 million for their improvement?
That's correct, it's the
So
cost to buy
that's-
water.
so
And I would
that-
actually also argue, if we're being honest, I actually think you all make water way less expensively than Norwood buys water from the MWRA. Because you're a groundwater community and that is a reality. So, and there's nothing, we've had these conversations already, right? You all said you wanted MWRA water, there's a premium to be paid, it's excellent quality, it is a good, solid source and supply, and and when we first started going through this, you all said you were in. Now, we've had this kind of shock to the system, which I understand, but I think you're on the right track. I think everything is a negotiation. I'm not sure I'm the best person to negotiate on your behalf, but everything is a negotiation. I think taking some of these costs and maybe not paying them at time zero are all good, but we do need to get some consensus because we're all talking kind of
The wheeling
different.
fee was from Norwood, not from the MWRA.
Correct.
So that, MWRA has nothing to do with it. This is what's going on. We can make water less than the MWRA right now, over time. In the future, with the PFAS and all the limitations of supply, our costs are gonna go way the hell up. The MBTA, the MWRA are gonna continue going at its gradual increase. So right now, it looks like a lousy deal. 25 years from now, it's gonna be golden. 50 years, they should build statues to the commission. I mean, that, and I'm not arguing with you, because you're the messenger. Norwood's the issue. But these figures, for example, we can't charge yourself $800,000 for pipe. We have a budget. We do so many miles of pipe every year. We're just gonna use our budgeted miles of pipe to do this connection, because it's important to do it this year. We don't have to put that in the budget. I mean, and the 25%, I can knock 10 million out of this right off the bat, just knocking the figures off the page. So, and I want to talk to Norwood, because I think that, who's the guy down there, Scott? Who's their DPW director? Is it the guy from Walpole?
No, I can't think of his name.
Mark,
Mark?
Yeah.
Is it Mark Ryan? It is or it isn't?
I don't remember Mark's
It
last
is.
name.
I'd like to ask Mark Ryan. I mean, seriously, Mark, we can't go and do a well and do all this and spend the same amount of money.
It's,
Why don't you make it,
it's not Mark's decision to make, just like it's not my decision to make, John. Mark and I answer to higher authorities. Okay? So Mark cannot say, yeah, let Walpole do that. It's not gonna happen. It doesn't work that way, you know that.
well, before we have a June 4th meeting, I'm gonna ask the commissioners, let me and whoever wants to come and talk to Norwood and find out what the bottom line is. So we have an option. If you're gonna stick to this number, you're gonna get a goose egg for yourself, and there's no turning back once we start going in the other direction. So, you know, you better think twice, because it's exorbitant what they're asking for, and they're gonna get a wheeling fee on top of it. They're foolish not to do it. It's nothing to them. It's water going through a pipe, they don't see it or know about it.
John, we were shocked when we got the numbers from Stantec
So the
as to what it
option,
was gonna cost.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, the option one actual cost is $25,793,000, which is close to $26 million. If you pay both the wheeling fees and the Norwood upgrade fees. So the cost for option one is not, it should be clearly stated that it's going to be $26 million.
How did you
Option one?
arrive to 26, Patrice?
528 per year for Norwood infrastructure upgrade,
Right,
and Norwood wheeling cost 331,000 per year,
okay, that's. what you're
900
looking
into
at.
30 years
All right.
cost.
Oh, okay, you're
So-
talking about financing costs, yeah.
I hear I think I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is the 30-year or the 20-year life cycle analysis cost is that, right?
Yep.
But you do need to compare that. You all have costs on the life cycle as well. And so some of that washes out, if that makes sense. And I will share with you, many communities have done those cost analysis that you just had, John, about adding PFAS treatment to their groundwater treatment systems, and compared that against MWRA, and I have yet to find one that costs more to treat PFAS on their sources than go MWRA. So I just caution us to be a little careful with that. My instincts are that you all could add PFAS treatment to this facility and still make water cheaper than $5,000 per million gallons, which is what you're gonna be buying it for from the MWRA.
That's if you believe in the government.
Well, the PFAS
I believe the
issue,
government's going the other way. They want to make it as costly as possible. That's why they got a list of how many PFAS things? 90? I mean, it's never going to end. It's the new COVID. It's the
Okay,
new
so
deal.
If in the interest of trying to get us better aligned, that is not super helpful. So we need clear direction. Weston and Sampson needs clear direction from the town of Walpole on how they want to move forward. All right? So, and I've been saying all along that an engineering piece of this is the easy part. The pump station and the mechanics and the piping is easy. The permitting is a challenge. So if $8 million is too much money, and what I mean by too much, it means that it changes this project. This project is no longer a go. That's probably something we need to be talking about. Or, you know, maybe there's different portions of that project. Maybe some of it is financed, maybe some of it is capital. Maybe we back off of our 1 MGD. Maybe we go in for something less. Maybe we, those are the things I think that we should be talking about and thinking about, if that helps.
Yes.
You know, you're still talking about, you know, supplemental supply that, but what you haven't spoken about is a potential growth. And you know, I assume you're aware of, like, MBTA, new zoning.
I am.
Okay. And you know that we are building lots of apartments in Walpole right now. So, you know, we've always prided ourselves, I've been on quite a while, and we're trying to always think, and we have thought about 20 years up the line. And when this became available, my thought was, we need to have an insurance policy. We need to have a way to keep the town supplied with a good source of water. And the way it's running out now is that these towns are jumping on it. There's a limited supply, you know that. We need to get into that. We need to own a piece of that water so that in the future, which isn't that far away, we'll be able to supply what we do now, is water. And the wells don't do it, because first of all, you never know when you drill a well if you're gonna get water. So you keep drilling wells here, there, and everywhere. And we have a problem with the state and our withdrawal permit. They never, with all these new buildings, you'd think they'd be changing that around a little bit, but you'd think that if a town votes for the MBTA, they'd increase our permit by right. It's part of their rules and regulations, but I haven't seen that. So
they're not saying that they wouldn't increase it, Patrick?
you hear what I said, though. There's no guarantee, we're talking about guarantees here. And don't forget, we're responsible for making sure that people get water in 20 years. You folks will be gone, but the commission will be here, still trying to deal with this. So, it has to be a supplemental supply. Emergency, like I said, you can connect fire hoses to the hydrants. You might have to put a fire engine in the middle, but you can do that. And you can do that in an hour from now to get emergency water. So it's not the emergency thing that I was ever thinking of. You can use it for that. But I would like to just have the right to connect to Quabbin. Quabbin's 72 miles away. It has the best, and I've checked this, the best municipal water system in the country. In the whole United States, Quabbin has the best water. Okay? We're 72 miles away, all downhill. And it seems a shame that we can't own a piece of that so that we can have it for the future. Because if you don't own it, you don't guarantee you're gonna get it. So that's the way I'm looking at it as a commissioner, and in my mind, a policy that we should be pursuing.
And that's a good way to look at it, okay, Patrick? And because I think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that does not want to do this. I think everybody, at least everybody that I'm aware of and I've talked to, is on board with this supplemental connection. The biggest question remains, at what cost? What value does that 1 million gallons a day have? Is it the 10 million, 14 million, 12 million? We're gonna get tied up in a couple of $1 million either way. And how are we gonna pay for it? Those are the issues. It's not a matter of wanting the connection. Everybody that I know of is fully on board with the connection.
Well, then the question is, how much is it worth to us?
I think that's a good.
Okay, that's what somebody has to decide. How
Exactly,
much
that's
is
what
it
you
worth to
guys
us?
have to decide.
And, people criticize us when we bought Jarvis Farm because we paid too many millions of dollars for it. But as time goes by, people say, you bought all that land for that kind of money? And as time goes by, it becomes more and more evident that,
Well, it may be even more valuable than you think, because we're getting ready to punch some holes over there, see if we can find a well.
we might,
Seriously?
yeah, but we might have to treat it and go through a whole bunch of things, and we might not find it. See, that's the thing. I'm looking for something that's guaranteed. Quabbin, when they built Quabbin, and I don't want to get into all the ins and outs, every single body of water in the Commonwealth, right, that's anywhere near Quabbin, in an emergency or in a drought, they can take all that water into Quabbin. Quabbin, and plus, if it didn't rain a drop, this is what they told me, for 10 years, they'd still be able to supply what they supply now. That's no water going to Quabbin. But of course, that would never happen because they can take water from any place. So they can divert any place into Quabbin. So that's a guarantee as far as humanly possible. Okay, it's gonna have water. And I'd like to have a piece of that.
Again, there's no disputing
But how
that.
much is it worth?
That's-
So what do you think it's worth? You're the director of public works. How much money do you think is worth us having this insurance policy?
$10 million.
Okay, you think 10 million will
Are you
do
gonna
it?
ask me?
Ask Leah.
I think that $10 million is a somewhat arbitrary number. Do I think it's worth 14 million? I think it's worth 14 million. So, and to your point,
This is really
Patrick,
different.
it's hard. It's really hard right now. Things are getting so expensive so fast. It's really hard to keep
Yes.
up with it. I get it. But you had that story about the land that you bought and how people criticized you for a couple of $1 million. Nobody is going to criticize you for spending a $2 million extra dollars in 2024 and 2028 when this thing is like, thank goodness we did that. Does that make sense to you? When we look back in history, never does anyone say these are bad, planning for water supply are bad decisions. So I commend you for it. I think it's a great thing. I think we were all there until we got this number, so we just have to kind of work through that. That's where I am.
Again, the Norwood number is the one that blew us out of the water, Mr. Chairman. We weren't expecting that.
I have a
So,
question.
okay,
And that isn't done. I mean, we haven't even dealt with Norwood yet.
okay.
There's a lot of.
But this is
strings
important,
to
what they're
pull.
saying is true, though. It comes down to a money thing, it's not a policy thing, it's a money thing.
Well, it's fair treatment too, because Sharon is spending so much, instead of financing and a tripling.
Sharon
cost.
can't use their connection.
No, but the point is, the money that they are committed to, they're allowed to pay it every year. If we could do that,
I
This would be
think
a
that's a
home run.
very good point.
because they're not gonna use the pipes, they're not gonna have the pipes for 20 years, so why do we have to pay? If we could pay this over 25 years or 20 years to them, I would go
Okay,
along
I
with it.
think I can help you with that, all right? If you want to take the water, which you do, they need improvements in their systems so that they can reliably give you water. The difference for Sharon is that they didn't ever want to take the water. There is a distinct difference there.
They plan the improvements anyway. They already have it on their drawing boards to do this piping within the next 20 years.
I'm just
They're
trying to
not gonna
help
do it
you
on day one.
understand the
I
other
know,
side.
you're giving me a contrarian argument, I get it.
I'm just
but-
trying to help you understand. This is how, if you were my consultant, I would be doing exactly the same thing that Norwood is doing. I would basically say, no, if they want water and they want it reliably, you, Walpole, need to do those improvements.
And the
Right.
question, the Sharon connection, which street is it connecting?
Union.
Union Street. And why can't we use the Union Street improvement from the Norwood to get the water to the Norwood, to the Walpole?
Well, it's not,
Now- now
it's
he's
not in the
thinking
right
outside the
spot,
box.
for one.
We'll buy the pumping station from Sharon and guarantee them supplemental water. And we'll take over the connection and use it. And pay them.
I don't
It's not
think
part of their
it's
agreement.
close.
Sharon
Yeah,
can't,
but
Sharon has to
we're
have
making a
it.
new agreement.
You have to see the document as to when they can use it and when they can't.
If that can be changed.
It could be.
I actually think that's a
Rick,
great
I want to
point,
ask you,
Patrick.
do you
Like-
have confidence in building a well in Minebrook Fort? Do you think if we just fold the tents this month and go to there, are you have confidence about that?
That we could build it?
Not that we could build, that it's gonna work out, that it's not gonna have PFAS, that we're gonna get good water out of it, they're gonna meet our redundancy needs.
Yes. It's a good well. It's been pump tested on 2 separate occasions, stabilized at a little over 1 million gallons a day.
I think the commissioners need to have maybe a workshop and talk to Norwood directly and just give them an ultimatum. And then we'll talk, when you say stakeholders, the community has stakeholders and the sewer and water has stakeholders. They're not mutually inclusive. They don't completely overlap.
They should though.
Well, that's their fault. Because we have, we're not responsible to recreation, we're not responsible to health and community service and.
No, I'm talking about the constituency of the community, John, and the finance people and the policymakers.
Yeah, I think that, my personal opinion is they all look in the rearview mirror. They're bad planners, they obviously didn't go to graduate school or business school. They don't, they think everything is based on the past. They don't accept any change for the future, which is what it's all about. All the dynamics of the future is what's screwing everything up. You can't just linearly predict the future based on the past, and that's how they do it.
Right, but again, I'd like to reemphasize that I don't know of anybody that is opposed to making this redundant connection with the MWRA.
Yeah.
As far as I know, everybody is on board, John. It's just a matter of how do we pay for it?
Well, I think then the commissioners have to soul search if they're willing to sign in blood that they'll increase the rates to whatever it takes to do the job. But I think we have to reconsider these figures too, because as I say, that 800,000 out the window. We do 2 million a year on pipes, that's gonna be part of our pipe program. Forget the 25% contingency, and let's look at, work on Norwood, on the feed, make them, tell them, we're gonna, ready to do the option, you're gonna get zero out of this. You better think over it twice, give us your final price, because once we're doing it, we have a meeting coming up, and that's gonna be it. We're heading down, you know.
I believe we've tried that, John, and there was no budget on Norwood's side. I advocated and I argued at the meeting that we had with them that some of the improvements that they were seeking were unrealistic. And they were like, okay, let us look at them. Day or two later, now we need those improvements. Over on the Pleasant Street side and Moore Street. And I mean, I fully understand that their line on Mylord Street should be replaced. 2 crossings at Hosbrook and South Norwood. I understand that, because that's directly related to where we're going to take the water from, or want to take the water from. But further back in the system, I just couldn't wrap my head around why they wanted us to do that.
So are we saying that our Mylord Street location is wrong? We should be
No,
looking
I think
at,
the Mylord Street location for deep is ideal.
so but it's taking too much money from the Norwood side. We should be looking
We
at.
asked them about an alternative site, if we were to go
Which was the
to
Union.
Willett or something, they'd like, we still need to make improvements.
And what is the cost of improvement on the Union Street? From the
Union
Norwood?
Street, we don't own land down there. That was one of the reasons
We
that,
did
The town
ask that
can, the
question.
town, the
and
town
they-
can buy it. The board has bought land before.
you can't buy conservation land.
Any other commercial land also, if needed. So land should not be the problem.
So to that point, that's a good point. They have a segment of pipeline, I believe it's on Route 1, in their Moore Street area, that they would want replaced if we went to the Union Street.
We did ask them that question about
So the
other
cost is very
sites.
similar. If you look, they gave us 2 options, I believe.
They only gave Mylord option.
Norwood,
Norwood.
it was in a previous memo that you guys got, was from Stantec.
There was no cost at that
Yes, they
time.
were. It was all broken
Like
up.
3 location, but no cost.
Yeah, they were. They were all broken up.
Okay.
The thing
No,
that-
this cost came later. That's why I'm asking.
No, the Stantec memo that the board had previously received,
We can
all
resend
Norwood's
it.
costs were broken out on that.
Okay.
Well,
I can get you that again.
Okay. That's good. Thank you.
I think that the timing is the thing, Leah, that they're not gonna do this all at once. They've already said they're gonna be doing this over a period of 2 decades. So if they're doing it, we should be able to pay it over time. If we can pay it over time, I think they're within the ballpark. If we pay them $1 million a year for 15 years or 10 years or something, I mean, that's okay. Or 500,000 for 20 years, whatever it is.
And I'm not so sure that they wouldn't go for that.
It's
No,
the financing that throws it out of whack. And why borrow it if they're not gonna do it? Why do we have to borrow if they're not gonna do it for 10 years?
quite honestly, I think that's probably the only place that there's any room for movement on their part as to how it would be paid for.
Well, just
And
think
when
about-
it would be paid for.
Think about this, what if Norwood goes into receivership and shuts off the water? Now, we've paid them millions of dollars, and we don't have access. And now what? So it's unreasonable to pay it at one time. We should
Half of
have
it.
an agreement of over 20 years. We're gonna pay them out in 20 years, so much a year, and we're insuring them, and they're insuring us. We're indemnifying each other, and hopefully we'll keep paying them the money, and they'll keep letting us have the water. I mean, that sounds pretty logical.
So they'd have to let us, if we enter the agreement, they have to let us have the water.
Yeah, but
Okay, because it's an
They
agreement.
can't be there. They're
It's a
gonna go,
contract.
they're gonna receivership, like the Norwood Hospital. Somebody else is gonna take it over.
Well,
They say,
they,
no.
I
we're not out of
don't think
those
Norwood's
accounts."
going into receivership.
Okay, and just to be clear, the $8 million of improvement, there were 2 streets. There was more than 2, but there were 2 areas, okay? So
Was
one of the areas, they're doing it right away. They are doing, that improvement needs to be done in order to take water. And that makes sense in my mind, and I think in Rick's mind.
Well, it's
So-
taking water right now.
No, it's not taking an extra
You tell
one
me they're building
MGD.
dedicated lines to Walpole?
No, they're upgrading 6-inch, they're upgrading undersized and old lines to service Walpole. The other, which is Pleasant Street, that is the area to be negotiated in my opinion. So it's half, it's not all of it. So I think that the town of Walpole, in order to take water, needs to fund some of those improvements up front. And then there's a timing conversation that needs to be had.
So who's the key negotiator? Is the town manager?
Town managers,
Or we got more than one?
ours and theirs.
And that did happen. That happened.
I believe
after
it
the
happened on
meeting.
2 occasions, they spoke.
One last
Great
question,
route.
Westwood,
We have to get them into both sit in a meeting when we got the stakeholders all sitting together. Not the finance committee, I'm talking about us and the negotiators.
Westwood town connection. Was it possible to get water from Westwood side?
Are you talking about when Westwood connected to the MWRA?
Yeah.
So Westwood is a,
District.
Water
Well-
district, Dedham Water District.
they built 2020, because I believe 2002, we were the engineer for that project. So they built a transmission main, which was roughly about a mile, and they built a pump station, and they were a pre-existing customer, so but they did all of those improvements themselves. What was your question specifically?
So is there any chance for Walpole to pull water from Westwood? That's the
It's
question.
a different pressure zone for us.
Okay.
Well, we did look at that early on, and that Westwood system is probably more fragile than Norwood's system, so I'm not sure that's gonna solve
That's fine.
those problems.
Because we are just negotiating with one town, so that's the reason I was.
Yeah, the
like,
closest
what
connection point for Westwood Pradeep would be, I believe,
Dover.
on their Oak Street.
I looked at it.
Or maybe on
when we
109,
first
it's a
started,
different
we
pressure
looked at
zone
it.
for us. It's a totally different pressure
not
zone,
Westwood's
so it'd be miles of pipe for us.
Can I say something here? Westwood doesn't have its own water system, you know that. It's
It's a
a
district.
Dedham Westwood water system. And you know that Dedham, if you look at the original plans from Quabbin, if you're within 10 miles of the State House of the city of Boston, you're entitled
Exactly.
to have water. Dedham meets that requirement.
So does Walpole, I believe.
We're not within 10 miles of
It's
the
not 10
state.
miles, it's wider than 10 miles.
We're 20 miles.
And Walpole-
Anyway, Dedham has a right to the water. Now, Dedham's supplying, I don't know what their contract is, but it's the same, it was a private water system, and they bought it out. It's Dedham Westwood Water System, they considered.
It's a
So
municipal water system.
Now it is.
We do work for them. They
Yeah.
have it's a groundwater system.
Oh,
They-
say that again?
It's a groundwater system. They have 2 treatment plants. They actually look very similar to
Who are
Walpole.
they? Who's they?
Dedham Westwood Water
Yes, I
District.
know that, okay. But the thing
And
is, it's one
They have
system.
PFAS.
So,
And they are building PFAS treatment plants.
yeah,
because
but
it-
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying legally, Why is there a problem to connect to Westwood?
There's not a problem to connect to Westwood.
Legally.
You're just going to need to do improvements in the Westwood distribution system to be able to wheel water, and that's a pretty remote
And
area
is
for
that
Westwood.
is that a better deal for us or not?
I do not believe so.
Why?
Because that connection point in Westwood that Walpole would be taking water from is one of their weakest parts of their distribution system. It's far out from their plants and their connections. So my guess is that Westwood would be having Walpole do improvements to the system.
And here's another thing, you have the maps, you said, right, the MWRA maps?
Yeah, we do.
There is an aqueduct that comes from Bellevue Tower, runs down Washington Street into Dedham. How far does that aqueduct go?
So I think I believe this, you said that to me before,
Yeah.
and I believe I went and grabbed the maps, and I didn't find any aqueduct on.
I know it's there
Washington
because
Street.
I've walked through it, okay. So, but,
But if you've walked through it, then there's no water in it.
It was back in the Roman Empire.
so anyway, the point is, what I'm trying to say is that the taxpayer paid for that aqueduct to come down and go I never knew where, I was too little. I was in the 3rd grade or something. I don't know where it ended, but it went by my house. And it went at least into Dedham. So does it go further beyond Dedham? It's it's gotta be a 6-foot pipe. But does it go into Dedham? And I don't understand why it's not in the maps. Okay, because if indeed this thing runs all the way to Norwood, then, you know, I would think because we're taxpayers, we paid for that aqueduct, we would have sort of a legal right to this thing to get the
Some
water.
of you may remember, I know Bill will probably remember, years and years ago, the Finance Committee at the time wanted the town to investigate connection to the MWRA. And I believe at that time, the price tag was like $7 or $8 million. This was back in the 80s, I think it was, maybe even 90s.
But then you also
That was
had
for the
entrance
MWRA
fee.
though.
Exactly, at the entrance fee at the time too.
Right, which, this is why it's the optimal time to do it, because they are having a sale for 5 years, starting September of 2022, with no entrance fee.
I believe that this is the least expensive alternative for the town of Walpole to get water from the MWRA.
No, it's not.
I understand that it's more than you all want to pay, but I believe that it is the least expensive. And I believe that you can treat for
No, it's
PFAS
the least
cheaper.
expensive to service the entire town. That's true, but your first statement is not true.
Yeah, they're very, I mean, I guess you came here as our consultant and you tell us, we're supposed to give you the alternatives. Really, it's reverse. We're looking for you to dig out the alternatives.
So I can answer the alternative question right now. My let street's your best option.
Well, yeah, but we want the alternative, we'd like to.
But
deliberate.
before, John, when I suggested that, you threw the reins on me and you didn't like it.
What do you mean?
When I wanted to
Myrtle Street?
investigate Wilson Street, and
No, that's not true.
it was like, no. We picked Mylott Street. Okay, so we're back to Mylott Street.
Well,
Mylott
these
Street's the
are,
ideal location.
these are all captive to Norwood, so that isn't changing anything, really. I mean, we're talking about other sources being, not MWRA / some other town other than Norwood.
So do you guys want to direct Leah to look at Westwood and Canton and everything else?
Yes,
Is that what you want?
that should be at least given as an option to see what's the cost and what are the probability.
How much, Rick?
I'm happy to share, because when we started doing this, that was the first thing I did, is I went and I looked at all of the surrounding communities and I looked at what was the best location. And I'm happy to share those details with you. I don't know if we want to go through the exercise of figuring out how much Westwood is going to charge for their improvements and how much other communities are going to charge. It's pretty easy because it's all length.
Yeah, what is it for per foot on an 8-inch line if you're running any kind of significant distance or cross-country. How much?
$300, oh,
300, well, that's what you.
you
that
said
was in your
cross-country,
estimates, 300.
but,
So, just looking at those, you know, we're thinking that the MDRA has a resource somewhere around Route 128, somewhere in either Canton or Westwood or Norwood or somewhere around like UPS or whatever. So, isn't there some linear way to get from that point? I'd rather get as close as I can to the MWRA and pay for an easement and buy direct from them than have Norwood to hold us hostage for wheeling and all this stuff when, you know, and all their improvements across town that really don't involve us.
And wheeling cost is almost half of the infrastructure cost, like, $331,000 per year, just for million gallon per year, that capacity. Let's assume that we want more water, then the wheeling cost will go up. So we need to think of reducing the wheeling cost also. And that's only possible when we have a direct connection from MWRA, not from the Norwood.
No, Norwood's collecting money from two pots,
Yeah.
variable costs and fixed costs. The
That's-
variable
that's
cost is the
useful.
wheeling fee per gallon of water, okay, or per volume of water. But that's from their wholesale cost. My point is, our study by our own department says that water should cost us the same or less than we're paying for water here in Walpole. Because they're getting a wholesale price plus 20%. They charge 30%, they mark their water up 30% to their own residents. So there's no additional, the cost to us is the same, we don't have to do anything else. We have a pump station, we have the water.
Isn't the wholesale cost right now more expensive than we're paying, than we can produce it for? Without a 20% wheeling fee?
Well, I'm comparing to the ultimate, you've got your fixed costs and your overhead and your operating costs, Rick. So your delivered costs, according to, I didn't do this, your staff did the study. It says that Walpole and Norwood are on a par within 2% of each other for their rates, okay? So, and I'm not begrudging, whatever our enterprise fund is wonderful. But the point is, as far as projected on Norwood, no, we're not paying the retail rate plus 20%, we're paying the wholesale rate plus 20%, which is about the rate, a little bit less than the rate they're charging their own customers. So it isn't gonna cost us any more, our consumers isn't gonna cost any more a gallon.
Mr. Chairman, when this is presented to the public, they're gonna ask us how much it's gonna cost. They're gonna ask us, did you go through the other towns, like you said? And we're gonna say, yeah, well, how much is that gonna charge? Oh, the consultant said it was gonna be less. We need those figures. We need to know how much it will cost for every possible route.
There's no practical way you
No.
can get water from 128 to Walpole.
You listen to me?
I am.
Okay, we need to know what it would cost. You can say that, but the people have to see that they can compare that, compare this, compare that, to find out this is the most cost-efficient way to do it. You just can't say it is. You have to get the data.
it'll help ground the.
You understand what I'm saying?
I think so,
Because they get the-
yeah.
Yeah, and they're right to know.
And like I said, if we can get water from Route 95 for $2 million, you better start digging tonight.
I'll get my shovel. By the way, yeah, but it's right there.
It's about $1.6 million per mile linear. Okay, so if it's, I don't know what the distance is from Norwood, 2.5 miles? So that's, you know, what is that? 3 times
From where in
1.6 is $4
Norwood?
million.
From where in Norwood?
Let us sketch out a few different options, just to kind of give us a little grounding.
Yeah,
Does
let's
that
not
sound
give Norwood the
helpful?
monopoly, because they're not, maybe they'll warm up afterwards when they realize we have other options. I'd like to work with Norwood, but I just think this is a little high. And I still want to pursue this because I think in my heart it's the right thing to do for the long term of Walpole.
It's the best
And
available option that we have.
And it should, and we can't just fold the tents and give in to Norwood and have people here with this. But the reason we're having a information meeting to the public, by the way, this Thursday at the Walpole Library at the community room at 7:30 PM We're having a question and answer period from Sewer and Water to answer public's questions. And, you know, I'm sure there are many of them. And people want to know about a $6,000 water bill. I think we know there was an incident. But that was all over the village fair the other day, and everybody, I get stopped at church, every place I go. I get asked about the $6,000 water bill.
There's no $6,000 water bills. Throw the sewer charge on it, that's a horse of a different kind.
Yeah, no, no,
But
I
they
understand.
call it a water bill, John, when in actuality, 90% of it's the sewer charge.
Yeah, and I know where you're going with that, and you're right, I'm agreeing with you, but it's one of these marketing things that's just the twist of that amount is enough for everybody to gossip about it.
How
Because
much
it's
is
so-
the cost of a gallon of water in Walpole?
Cost to who? To you?
1 gallon, for us. How much on your
I say
rate?
3 cents.
What the consumer pays or what you?
Yeah, I know, you
personally
haven't.
What the consumer pays per gallon.
I think 3 cents is too
3
expensive.
cents.
How much?
Okay,
It's less than a penny.
divide it
It's a fraction.
by
And you produce it for
100.
less than a penny.
No, we sell it for less than a penny.
And we deliver it,
Right.
not only to your, we deliver it into your
Pretty close
house,
to
not
it.
just to your front
close to
door.
It's less than a penny a gallon.
Yeah.
Delivered.
Not
Like,
bad.
Well, they bring it in your house too, you know.
sometimes we do.
Well, let's go into business then.
We're in business, John.
No,
I
but let's go
suggested
into-
that.
Let's go make some money because Siemens sells our water for like a, you know, whatever, $500 a gallon. So it's a pretty good markup.
What do you need, Leah? This,
We want some alternatives from our bill.
What do
Maybe
I
other- something
need?
other than
well, it
Norwood.
sounds like that for this water resources, does the Water Resource Commission care whether we go at Mylod, go up through 95, run on telephone poles or what? Are they just concerned about, have we looked at all the alternatives, local sources? Is that what you're saying, it's a challenge?
That's where they care at the moment. So we have to permit this. And this needs to have a design, and it needs to have plans, and we need to put that together pretty quickly, right? Or we're gonna have nothing to permit. So we can't move, if we're gonna single track this, which is the most inexpensive and efficient way to do that, we have a strategy, we have a site,
We
we
have
do a
Mylod.
design. Are we ready to do a design on Mylod Street?
Why can't we do a 95 design and submit to the MWRA? That's the design they need, isn't it?
I don't understand, I didn't understand.
We can submit the design to MWRA for getting the water from 95 location to all the way to, let's say, Union Street. That's what they
No,
need.
There's no water main on Route 95.
And even if there's so many things that would,
Has anybody ever seen a fire hydrant driving down Route 95? Anybody?
I seen
No.
Top Golf. I seen Top
There
Golf.
could be lorry hydrants for all we know.
You have to admit, if you were me, right now, you'd be a little bit confused, right? Like, that's a fair statement.
can we submit with,
Here's the thing, it's a 22-page application.
right,
21 3/4 of that application can be completed. The only thing that's missing is the project narrative, because we don't have a project.
Because we don't have the information yet.
but we voted on, and it was at the Finance Committee meeting room. I remember, I made the
We
motion,
did.
someone second, and it was Mylod Street. So why can't we send to the Water Resource Commission, fill that first page or whatever, that it's Mylod Street?
We can, and then what happens if Norwood doesn't back off of the $8 million? Is it still a go?
Well, we're not gonna say that publicly on the microphone because we're gonna go and talk to them. I mean.
Well, that's what it comes down to.
Right.
Well-
For me, that's, like, okay, so we'll move forward with the design on Mylod Street. Is
Yeah.
that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, look, if you look at what the town administrator's memo, it's correspondence one, I don't see, April 11th, did you get that one?
Yes, I did, thank you.
Okay, so he's got a huge compendium of capital improvement enterprise fund items that makes, blows out of the water. A lot of these are postponable, delayable, whatever. subject to something more important. So we have wiggle room to commit to this.
Plans
But
for
the
these-
notion
for
is,
these people.
if we had a fair deal, it would be a lot easier for us to represent the ratepayers' interest, to say, you know, we're going full bore. I think we want to go with this plan, but we want to take another shot at Norwood about other ways to do this.
Our
And I
fiscal
think
plan.
the worst case would be what you said, is if we go something like $3.5–4 million over the first 2 years, and then so much a year for 10 years, or something like that, so that we distribute it based on how they're gonna do the project. Because quite frankly, I can't believe somebody would just go there, give somebody a lump of money and hope that they're gonna give you water for the next 50 years. We have no problem, we have
I
no
don't think that was the intention, John, to give the lump of money. I think it was always intended to pay it over a period of
Yeah,
years.
exactly. Well, that's what,
Line 2 and
but
option
there's something missing from that town
Line 2 and
administrator's.
option 1. 30-year payback.
Yeah. It's written in Jim's memo. 30-year pay.
What's 30-year payback? What
If you
amount?
look at the memo, Jim's memo, the April.
Yeah, I'm looking, I don't see it in this.
Option 2. Option 1, line 2.
Okay, I am going to give Walpole a contract for the design of the pumping station and of the water mains on Mylod Street. And we are going to put together a very high-level look at where MWRA is, not where it was, not where it's going to be. Fair? Because by the way, MWRA is coming down South Shore. Do you want to wait? Or do you want only where it is?
But here's that you can tell us because you're involved in these other projects. But Bill and I, in investigating this, found that really they're capitating the expansion of clients to, it's 50, what is it, Bill? 50 million?
That was their estimate for each, for the north, the Metro West, and the south. There were more gallons
For their internal.
required than the MWA was offering.
Yes.
Yes.
So there is some ceiling, what they hit. If all these big, if Metro West and Weymouth and everything all come in, the door could be closed.
We had a conversation with Water Resources Commission, and although there's no precedence, they have never said no to a community. They could say, Walpole's not hitting their 65 gallons per capita day. Walpole's has plenty of water in basin. You're doing upgrades at your existing well field. You don't need MWRA water. They could say that. I don't think that they will, but they all are saying that it's in their rights of doing that. We had a conversation with Water Resources, and they were like, I said, well, how are you going to prioritize how that 50 million gallons a day is distributed? And they were like, well, we haven't figured that out yet. So, which is the reason why all of you are riding on us to get this done quickly, right? Because you know that. So,
How much is Weymouth? They want to get totally out. They're not supplementing, they're looking to replace. How many gallons per day are they?
I don't know what I forget what their plant is,
I
but
just know their infrastructure cost, I think, was 130 million.
No, but I'm not worried about them, I'm thinking in terms of the gallons.
The gallonage.
50 million gallons a day.
all of the water, I've heard all the water could get used up in Metro West. So you're right, there's far more,
I also heard Weymouth is like 20 years before they complete.
Well, it doesn't, in the end, it's, they will have to prioritize who gets that 50 million gallons a day.
you'd think they would, right?
Well, somebody, you know.
They're not doing it
Holliston or
yet. I will tell you
Hollis-
that they are not prioritizing yet.
But has anybody, here's my completed application and whatever.
Burlington.
Burlington. had
Hopkinton
already-
is ahead
That's
of you.
historic. Yeah.
Well, Ashland and Burlington were in through that process before the MWA said no entrance fee. Yes.
Okay.
I think
Yeah, and
Hopkins-
that's the key, is there's two
They
potential
were
ceilings.
already, in the question, I always looked and said, they must feel bad that whatever entrance fee that they had to, in Ashland was at the same.
Burlington's in a pre-existing community, so there's no entrance fee if you're already getting water. So I don't think Burlington paid an entrance fee,
All right,
but.
and what, I don't know about Ashland, but both of them were roughly at the same time. They were well underway before the no entrance fee decision was made. I mean, you can just read like the water resources, the dates on these things are
Yeah.
prior.
So, yeah, we want to finish our application. We want to burn that money. We have the consulting money there. And, we'll cross the Rubicon when we get there about with Norwood, if they're going to be reasonable and we can work with them or not.
My
But we
concern.
want to keep the thing, as I was going to say, Bill, there's two thresholds. One is the 50 million gallon, but the other one is, that was where the waiver of the entry fee is. If MWR comes back then with an entry fee again after the 50 million, that'll blow everything out of the
The
water.
entrance fee has a daylight, I think it's 2026, 27, I don't
27,
remember.
well,
I
it's
saw
5
it.
years.
Yeah,
And the decision was in September of 2022. So 5 years would put it in 27. And the entrance fee prior to that was like $4.5 million.
$5.5 million per one MGD.
And all it is we'll take your application. You don't get a drop of water for that. So
That's right.
that's why it's important right now. In terms of looking at going down 95 or any of these other things, we will blow way past the, 2027.
I tell you right
just
now,
see
you're
how
not gonna
fast
get a
we're
permit
moving.
from SDOT to dig Route 95 up.
Well, you'll
No.
blow way past the $8 million, but I'll prove it to you on paper.
Yeah, that's why I
There's no
say,
way Mass DOT is gonna give you a permit to dig
Isn't
Route
95 a
95.
virgin run? There's nothing there. There's no intersection. You just run in pipe. All through Canton, all the way down through Norwood. I mean,
you're gonna go
that's-
through
you're not going through any
bridges.
intersections or anything. I mean, what could be easier? That'd be the cheapest thing going. And plus, Leah, the state owes us, they came and imposed on Walpole to take the Siemens plant and give them a $20 million TIF. And they turned around and started using up all our water. We're owed, the state owes us a favor. And you keep that in your bonnet, because I think at some point we want to use it as an argument. And don't tell us our wells aren't stressed, they are. And, we're trying to, this building has got a year for 1906, is it? 1903?
1895.
1895, that's even older. So, this water system's been around, we have mature wells, and we want to manage them properly. We want to give them breath, and we want to improve them and keep them working. We don't want to work the devil out of them and kill them.
Thank you. Are you done with me?
Well, what's the next step?
The next step,
Can we go over it one more time?
We have
Well, you're gonna
sleeping
finish the-
accommodations
you're
in
gonna finish
the
the
other room
application.
for you folks who are waiting.
Take a look where MWRA is, just for,
sorry, John, what?
no, take a look at where the MWRA is and finish the.
I'm gonna
application.
send you some maps. We're gonna take a look at some links. It's easy, and we'll, and then you can see what you wanna do from there. In the meantime, we're gonna move forward with the Mylod Street connection
Right.
design.
Yes, you should. We voted
Okay.
for that as the
Thank you.
location.
And putting water main in I-95 is the most expensive water main you can put in. I gotta
Okay,
say it. I put it.
It's just options, you're just thinking, we're thinking outside the box, sometimes that works.
It's less than
Gentlemen, thank
$26
you.
million. It's good.
Okay, well, after all that, now we get back to business.
All right.
Now, the real world.
Do you folks have a bigger plan?
I printed a full set if you want it.
I need something, I have to see this. Yeah, that'd be great.
This one's probably not gonna help you too much.
Okay, where are the Bristol brothers? They didn't come tonight? Mr. Bristol?
Here, I think I have this already set of
Yeah, no, I'm all familiar on this thing. The one who suggested this.
Are you with Crocker Design?
I am with Crocker Design, yes.
Is that from Cape Cod?
That is from Hingham.
From Hingham? You're not familiar with the one down on
Mr. Chairman?
Hyannis?
I don't know, I didn't know
Crocker?
there was one on there.
No. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I could just give some background.
Sure.
When
Mr.
the-
Ramos
when
going to
this-
give some background.
When this project, with, I think it's now 100 units or 103 units, whatever, off of West Street and Renmar Road, that area, their original, one, they had fire flow problems. You know, so their first thought was the central pressure zone is just across the street, you know, where the dog kennel is. And it would have taken, some other, a few other customers would switch from the south high pressure zone into the central pressure zone, which is lower pressure. We said, no, we don't want that. And I looked at
Wait a
our,
minute, tell us where the high pressure zone meets this.
well,
This is,
this map over here. Thank you.
this is on the east side of the railroad tracks.
This, if you look over here, this, the,
Gee.
too bad these aren't shaded, but the south pressure zone is here, the central, the north is up here, and right in near Pap's house is the, so, and we're Norfolk Street.
The north is the low
Basically,
pressure zone.
basically here is the south pressure zone.
It's high or low?
High.
Yeah.
Okay. If you look, the water comes down here, it also goes, it comes in this way and also goes around. And there is, what we had was small pipe going into a 10-inch pipe because we used to have the Kingsbury tank, which was part of the central. So you have poor water, fire flows in this area because the water has to come all the way around. And so looking at it, I said, you know, we got water coming here and there's nothing, no connection. So, and you say, oh, it's a 12-inch. No, that 12 inches connecting everything into the central. So I said, well, why don't we just require you to put a parallel line that would be in the south, we'd be connecting these two parts, because right now, you got like sort of two things that come to dead ends. And that's what the proposal, and it's gone through the planning board, to run a 12-inch main, because there's one here, up to here. And now, this makes, White Pierce did with the modeling and found that doing that dramatically improves the fire flows in this area and addresses their problem, but at a lot more expense, of course, because they would be running a line on Norfolk Street. So that was the history of why. They originally said, well, you know, we're right here, we just want to go across over into the central pressure zone, which is low.
Where does it end? Does it end the railroad tracks? Where does their line end? Coming from Norfolk?
It comes up here and then it goes down into West Street, you know, back in.
So it goes back?
Yeah, and this one, it just sort of.
So it doesn't go all the way to like Lincoln Road or anything?
No, that's all down here. And so there is a gap between these two areas. And so if you run a line parallel, and it wouldn't have to be parallel because this line services the central, if you put a parallel line, you improve the fire flows in this area because you're no longer water having to come all the way around here an 8-inch, and then it goes to a 10-inch. It was a 10-inch when we were trying to, so that's the reason that they're doing this. And at a lot of expense of theirs.
Yeah, parallel lines bother me a little bit, you know why?
No, I don't know, Pat, but
Because why couldn't they use this here and go up that way?
there's a lot of wetlands in here.
Yeah, well, there's water.
And, well, anyway.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Is there a way to put that on a street, a public street,
No,
besides putting it next to another water line?
on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Yes, well anyways, that's,
It just seems like it's a lot of work.
that's the reason that they're
Little extension.
looking at this, is that we were saying, no, we don't want to put this into the central pressure zone as well as, you know, there's a few other customers.
And what does Director of Public Works think about that?
When I brought it to him, he said, let's go to Wright Pierce and model it, and lo and behold, it had big improvements of the fire
I'm
flows.
not talking about the modeling now. What do you think of, is there a more efficient way to put that in?
No, this design has been looked at on several different occasions,
Yeah.
and this, what you have on those plans is the best available option.
Is this, we're gonna get the most for our money with this?
Yes.
So basically down near, if you look at it, Norfolk Street runs,
It goes up, it gets them to Wenmar Drive where they want to be, which is right.
Right.
It doesn't go beyond that.
no, because there's like a 10-inch line in West Street. But the problem was, is you had a long stretch of, in some points it was 6-inch mains, but now I think it's all 8-inch, from down close towards, well, be where Winter Street and Cedar Street in that area, coming all the way around on Lincoln Road, a long stretch of 8-inch that goes to a 10-inch that at the, where Kingsbury Street goes, and then that goes into West Street. So you're going from smaller to bigger rather than bigger to smaller.
Is this little street here, is that being like cul-de-sac or abandoned or what?
No, Forest Street, there
Forest
are
Street.
houses and they're only an
Is it Forest
emergency.
Street alone, you're not connecting through Forest Street?
Emergency only.
Right. And not for water, it's just for access. So anyways, that's the reason that that we had asked the planning board, it voted. And so what they're asking is there something that we could do in lowering the entrance fee because they are doing something that benefits the town?
How much?
Well, that's really the issue. And I think, Rick, when we first talked, that you said seemed reasonable, and it would, because it would cost us a lot more to do this.
Correct, because there's a mutual benefit.
Right,
It benefits us immensely in terms of fire flows in that Lincoln Road area,
right.
which is a known flow deficient area right now.
So I don't know, have you come with an ask?
Yes.
All right, well,
I'm Jim Bristol from Bristol Brothers Development. Taylor Corsano from Crocker Design, our civil engineers and surveying firm, is with me tonight. Appreciate your time. Both the DPW and the planning board have been great to work with, putting this project together that benefits both us and the town. But it's a big expense. It'll probably end up, to us, the bond amount is 1.1 million. We've already spent over $100,000 with engineering and surveying, getting the permit with the planning board and the conservation commission. We have it out to bid right now. We're hoping to do the construction this season. The sewer and water connection fees are $580. So we were hoping that those could be waived in lieu of the work we're doing. I think the work we're doing is basically 2 to 1 to what the sewer and water connection fees would be. And if the town had to do it, it would probably be closer to 2.5 to 1, where we can do it with private money. So it's all summarized in the letter that Taylor submitted, and we're here to answer any questions and hopefully work together with you, as we have with the DPW and the planning board, to get this far. So our project is 100 units of over 55 housing, single-family detached condominiums that should generate close to $1 million a year in tax revenue for the town of Walpole. In Weymouth, we built a similar project. It's the biggest taxpayer in the town of Weymouth. We pay over $1.5 million a year with 150 units.
What's the name of the project?
Weathervane? Weathervane?
Oh, Weatherby.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'd like is to have, whether it's our engineer, to get a sense as to, like, what should our offer be? I think it is reasonable that we can reduce in some fashion, whether it's just a penny or 100%, which is what they want. And I think the engineering department could assist us in coming up with something that we would feel comfortable with.
What's the difference in the PSI between both of these? With the new water main, the 12-inch going through, is it the same pressure as the 10, or is it different? It's probably different, because it's a different pressure zone.
When we tapped the water main in West Street, it was 60 PSI.
And what's the other one gonna be?
I don't know.
We can know that.
On the last
So,
page of the.
I mean, Scott, can you answer, what are the pressures on the zone, on the Norfolk Street Garbage? It's like 90 and 60 or something. Yeah.
It's 90 and 60? Okay, what I would think that, I can see waiving the fee, but I would like to see those two water mains connected, emergency connection on those two water mains with the pressure reducer on it, so that should something happen to one of them, we can use the other one even at a less efficient or less pressure. And the reason I say that is that, go back to MWRA like we were talking before, they're building a whole new redundant aquifer from all the way basically from Quabbin to Boston, because they realized that sometimes you need redundancy. So if we can connect these two together, we may never use it, but I don't think it would be that expensive to put a reducing valve in there and a couple of valves, a reducing unit, and a couple of valves on each side.
We might have proposed that at the, I can look in the plans, but there might be a connection that the water department or
Is- or
engineering made us.
If there is a connection, that's
It
wonderful.
would be controlled by gates.
Yeah.
Right.
Gate valves, not a pressure regulator.
But you could, yeah, you could load, that would do the same thing.
Because there's already a pressure regulator valve right
Yeah,
there at Norfolk and West.
but the orifice, reducing the orifice would reduce the pressure.
So back to the pressure, is what we're looking to increase is residual pressure, not
So-
static.
So is that possible? That's what I want to know. Can we use it as a redundant water line for both water areas?
I believe that's the way it's configured.
Yes, I think it's right at the entrance or near the entrance.
If
of
that
our
were true,
site.
then I would vote in favor of giving them the waiver on their entrance fee.
Does
Because
this affect the utilities on Merchant Drive at all?
Merchant Drive, oh,
I believe.
It'll help merchants.
yes, it would help.
Is there a loop?
Right now, they would be on,
No. There's no.
they would be on the low-pressure zone. Merchant Drive is on it. Because they were getting their water off of Norfolk Street. And there is currently, the only line that's there services this central pressure zone.
And also, one other benefit to this project is it's not sewer and water related, but I believe they construct a sidewalk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll construct a sidewalk from the new entrance on West Street all the way out to 1A, so, on top of the water main where it gets constructed, and then also a short connection over to our entrance. So residents will be able to walk all the way downtown on sidewalks.
Yeah, it sounds good. I think probably, what we probably will do is just check with Carl.
I believe Carl sent you something saying that he was all fully on board with this plan.
Right.
If he is, then I'd say we could go tonight.
This has been looked at
I know.
6 different times,
Yeah.
It has been, Carl has reviewed the plans multiple times.
several times.
Yeah.
I'll make
I
a
know- You
motion.
don't know Carl, he changes his mind.
I do know Carl, so we had to deal with him.
Yeah, you've done
What do
it
we
for
have to
3 years.
say? My motion,
Yes.
what do I have? I'll make a motion that we waive the entrance fees for this project due to the big improvement to our fire flows in the West Walpole area.
If I could, for a point of clarification, sewer and water, or just,
I think water, that's what I'm talking about.
okay.
Second? I'll second it.
Does that include some type of a way to have redundancy between the 2 lines?
We'll confirm that. We think it's part of this
And you
plan.
think it was part of the?
No, don't, yes or no?
Oh, do you want to look right now?
Yes, look right now.
Let's steal that plan set back.
Oh, okay.
So I can give it to the
I believe the way that it's valved will give us that. Because the old line is still going to be.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. How much amount are we talking about giving the rate?
It's $350,000,
$350,000.
so only waiting for the water.
So this is, how big is this?
That is a 12-inch, I believe,
10 to 12.
and I think it reduces down.
So how big is this?
Let me see.
They're constructing a 12-inch.
We're constructing a 12, so I think it goes to 12 and then it reduces down into this 10 to 12-inch gate valves.
How big?
But 12, 12 to 10.
This is a 12?
Yep,
Okay, and it comes into a 10?
10.
Okay. And, okay, so that's good. If we can put that in there and set it off with gates, or whatever way you want to do it. I just like to make sure that we have another way. These are houses here, right, the back lots? Are these houses?
With Benmar, I believe that's mainly industrial around Benmar, right?
All industrial.
All industrial, so
Huh?
it's commercial
Industrial,
buildings.
yeah,
Okay,
all businesses.
so that's even more important, okay. Yeah, okay.
There's no looping at the end of the street, but there's no more development there because there's the
Anybody else? Here,
bird machine dump.
give it to Commissioner Abbott.
Do we have a motion and second?
Yeah, we have a motion second already.
All right.
For the water
Yes.
fee. Any further discussion? I'd like to see you get a vote tonight, Mr. Bristol, because I've observed you at the planning for so long.
I know.
Being kicked around. It'd be nice to have a nice friendly board like us give you a positive vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I hear what the motion is exactly?
We're waiving the water entrance fee, which is, they're estimating $350,000.
Why are we waiving it?
Because of the work that they're doing that's improving our system, mainly the fire flows in the West Walpole area.
The Northwest Street and the sidewalk.
No, that's a whole different motion. You're waiving it because you're putting a
Uh,
water line in that
Benefits the town,
benefits the town.
yes. Improves our water system.
Fire protection mainly.
That is, yes, that was
You
the
got your
original
redundancy.
problem.
Huh?
You got your redundancy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
With the connection between the two of them from
we already
Murphy.
voted.
Okay, we voted. We got three yes.
And you win anyway, so
Yes.
I don't vote.
So,
You already voted yes.
I didn't vote yes. I didn't vote at all.
well, we have to have your vote so we can announce. the
Okay,
vote.
yes.
Okay. 4-0, Mr. Bristol.
All right.
Okay.
Any help with the sewer fees?
I don't see there's really nothing that you're doing extra on the sewer.
See, we don't get any money from the sewer. We give it all to the state. It's an
Rick
MWA.
told us we'd only get water at best, so,
Yes,
Well,
We have no,
you know, you can always use septic systems.
yep, we could. You're right.
all right.
Thank you very much, folks. Have a good night.
Systems work great in the ledge pit.
thank you for the explanation and your
Thank you.
helium.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chairman, let's move on.
Okay, I'm sorry, we're getting away.
Oh, that's hers. You want your,
So you can keep it if you want it.
your plans?
So something can bring us
Our
back in.
archive.
We got a proper
Really
vote.
such a fast turnaround, huh?
I have a spreadsheet that
Okay,
at the end of the.
let's see here. We have,
Be interested to look
The Warwick Road
Jody.
definitive remand.
Oh, so many possibilities on this, I love it.
We've
Take a
already
look at
made
this
our
plan.
comments. They apparently rejected it, went to whomever, who turned it back and said, you guys get together. I don't think that there's any changes to us.
Oh, there's a bunch of changes. Oh, let me tell you, if we haven't already made them.
Well, we've
Okay,
already told
this,
them.
if you look at the locus,
Okay.
they actually, the Wall Street, whatever it's called, right, actually owns up to, and these are so small they're hard to see, that cul-de-sac, Stony Brook Road. See it? See the locus? If you put a little, another
Yes.
block on the back of it,
Yes.
it goes right up to Stony Brook Road. Now, Stony Brook Road, on someplace, if I remember correctly, and I think I do, there is an easement on Stony Brook Road going someplace.
Patrick, I have to dig your plans, would that help?
Do we have something here? Oh, good. Let's see if this shows it. Okay, so this doesn't show the property, it shows just their local, they must have acquired more property. Okay, anyway, what I'd like to see is that easement connected, it is already in the locus. It's not in the locus, but it's in the property of the people who own the locus. Okay? And we have the other one up here, I forget, Bowden Road, I think it is called, and that's another dead end. On my thing here, it looks like the utility easement is aimed towards that area. Okay? So that's my concerns, is that we could get rid of two dead ends and connect them together with a little bit of planning here. Or at least get an easement all the way over to, I think we already have the easement on this. On the, I don't know what you want to call this, the added parcel. The AP. Can you see that? It's very, very small.
So what are you doing now? What are you shooting for?
Well, see how this is the same owners as this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, see the easement here? It's a utility and a entrance easement. Do you see how it goes off, going this way?
Yeah.
Where does it go?
It's got a plan that probably goes to Summer Street.
I think, no, when Summer Street's not there. It goes, it has to, the angle looks like it's going to this cul-de-sac here. So if we can make sure that that's there, I just want to make sure that that's there. Because we connect this dead end,
Maybe Rick knows.
huh?
Maybe Rick knows if there's an easement there.
That's okay, we get an easement though anyway.
Isn't there a sewer easement?
I'm not saying we build a
already in
water line.
place? I think there's a sewer easement already in place, isn't there?
Is it going from,
Summer Street.
is it going from Bowden
Boyd.
to Stony Brook?
Right.
It's Boyden Road.
When they built Boyden Place, they relocated the easement. When Wall Street developed Boyden Place, they relocated the easement.
Is there an
I
easement
believe that's the
between,
easement that you're referring to right
is
now.
there easement between Boyden Road and Stony Brook Road? That's what, it looks like there is, but I don't know if there is or not. But I just want to try to make sure there is, if possible, so we have some type of a grid there.
Okay.
Because you notice they're all coming together, but they don't touch each other. And I gotta think when this plan was made, I would have said something about that. Usually I want easements on these cul-de-sacs. How do we find that information out?
Yes, you just ask tomorrow. You check the plans tomorrow, we can check the plans tomorrow. and find out.
Can we look at, so we can postpone this?
I'll see why not.
Yeah, I mean, we've already commented on this project.
Yeah.
Do you know what our comments were?
No,
The planning
you still
board,
have to make
I
it
think,
more to read it.
rejected it or whatever, and probably there was a suit, and the courts probably said, go back, you two parties, and work it out.
Okay.
So
now-
I guess if we could find what we had originally sent, that would answer the question.
Well, why don't we
So why don't we
find-
do that for the, and we'll put
That's
this on
good.
the next agenda.
And the next meeting will be June 10th.
Oh, all right,
And I may not be there, but that's okay.
all right.
Somebody will
Maybe
have
could
to
go
address
back.
that.
Oh, wait. Okay,
Okay, Terry?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna find out?
Yeah.
Good.
all right.
This goes back to Terry.
Okay. Now we have correspondence, supplemental water connection.
I think we've already
I think we've done that.
covered that one.
Now we have your data, Bill Abbott, water pumped.
Yep. The only thing of note is that in April, if you look, the color, it's red. We had a streak of, looked like 5, where we were pumping more than historically prior 3 years. April, it is a little bit below.
Okay. Read and noted.
Yep.
Now we have the session on, just a FYI on, I guess we could vote this. A motion to have a public information session at the Walpole Library on Thursday, May 16th at 7:30 PM in the community room
Yeah.
for the purposes of answering questions from the public and the finance committee and other town meeting members about sewer and water, about,
You need a motion for that?
yeah.
I'll move that.
Okay.
It hasn't already been posted?
I'll second it. It's going to be posted.
Oh, okay.
Terry's aware of it for tomorrow. We just want to make sure we do it formally.
I just, a question, I'll go along with it, because we've already told everybody we were having a meeting.
No, well, it saved the
Yes.
town administrator. There would have been a lot of questions at town meeting about different things, and
Okay.
he hates to have all this
Yeah.
helter-skelter, people standing up and asking all these crazy questions.
Yeah.
So this way, it's kind of a catch-all
Yeah.
for questions people have about what's going on in the
Let's-
MWRA, what the rates are, what
Since
the...
we've already told everybody that
Communications.
there is a meeting, let's vote.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 400, 4-0. And then we have old business, we talked about the MWA connection. Jarvis Farm, is there something here? in
Is there
Jarvis
anything
Farm?
on the, you know, I was thinking, if we're not gonna build this thing in the near future, we need to move the barrier up to the, where the driveway ends. Because if they're gonna park there, they should be parking on the gravel driveway instead of going into the, right up next to the pond there, underneath the, you know, where the high tension lines are. So if we're not gonna get this thing done reasonably soon, I don't wanna see any parking up beyond the driveway.
You instruct us to put the barrier, we'll put the barrier.
Move the barrier up to the, you can actually leave the old barrier in case you wanna block off the parking too. But put another barrier up at the, you know what I'm talking about, where it opens up into the field,
Right before the Eversource pull off.
right before, yeah. That way they have to park their cars, on the driveway. We'll give some protection in the meantime while we're figuring out how to get this parking lot in there. This keeps me up at night.
No, I understand, but I'm not so sure how access for an emergency vehicle would be.
Oh, no,
with
you give them a
permit area.
key,
You're talking about putting another gate in?
huh? Make them key to like.
Okay, so you want us to install an additional gate? Not a physical Jersey barrier, you're talking about a gate?
It should be a physical barrier, so
Okay.
only the official vehicles can enter the actual
Okay,
thing.
so it's just another swing gate?
That's all.
Okay.
Just so that they're not right up against the, you know, the beach.
You know what that is, Scott? You know what that would be?
I don't, I'm trying to visualize it.
You go down the driveway, on the left-hand side, there's a little pull-up that goes with the Eversource.
After the power lines,
Right, right there. There's like a little,
we'll turn around.
it's not really a turnaround.
Will they be able to turn around? I guess that's my question. I don't want people backing down that driveway all the way down.
But they have to turn around on there. Don't bring their vehicle there.
Well, maybe we could accommodate them and make it turn around.
Yeah, but we don't want to accommodate vehicles in there because it's going to destroy our watershed. It's not meant to have vehicles there parked all day long. Or hundreds of them there.
So if we could get a vote of the board for that?
You're going, I mean, it's been used forever. It was a country day camp for 40 years or something. There were vehicles parked there forever.
You don't know where they were parked.
No, actually, I don't.
I do, since I knew where I dropped my son off to day camp. I know where they parked.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my motion.
Any seconds? No, we'll get to it.
Okay. But you understand that these cars are leaking fluids all day long when they're parked there.
Well, if you have no events there, there won't be cars there.
Say that again?
If you have no events there, there won't be any cars there.
Yeah, we could close the whole place down. And say there'll be no use of Jarvis Farm except people walking in there.
We may end up with a well, I mean, they're in the process of looking to see, we could have a well somewhere in Jarvis Farm, and that would take, it no longer would be available for recreation, you know, you wouldn't be able to do anything due to the 400-foot radius.
There's
We're a long
a
ways away from that, but that's the
there's a
problem.
dilemma there, because you want people in the park.
Well, I should.
Because they're the protectors of the
You can
park.
do what you're allowed to do within a zone, zone 1, which is you can hunt, you can have bike trails. You just have to read this. As long as you don't look at it too long, you're safe. You'd still be able to have people, but you wouldn't want to have.
We're the guardians of this place. We're supposed to guard. We spent that money to
Yes.
make sure the water was safe, and we got to do everything we can. That's a reasonable thing to have them park on the driveway. I mean, we could just close it down and say you can't use it for anything except going in there and walking.
Mr. Chairman, there was no second. I suggest we move on to the next item so we can
Okay, we'll put that in for further.
conclude our meeting.
There's got to be come up with something where there's passive recreation, the conservation stuff, they built a walkway down there and stuff, and people, I mean, you don't want to just shut it off to passive recreation, Patrick.
Well, people have been saying that. I mean, I think you should allow people in it. There should be people wandering around inside there because they're the protectors.
What's the
And
next item?
the reason I'm saying this is because it's already been tried. Quabbin and their aquifer, they originally had rules that nobody could go in it. That was it. The only thing in there were animals. And they found out that was not a way to safeguard your aquifer. The way to safeguard is to let the public go in there, walk around, do what they want to do in there, and they're the guardians of of their own aquifer.
So, we have one commissioner who isn't here tonight. He has a little bit more of a predisposition towards recreation and stuff over there.
This is not about recreation, it's about protection of the aquifer.
No, I know, I'm just trying to suggest that we may be able to come up with something so that the passive recreation can still take place in a reasonable way, and you have your safeguards. In the selectmen's section of the town website, people can apply.
For what?
They can make an application for the use of Jarvis Farm.
Where? From whom?
Well, they apply through the Board of Selectmen,
Why would they do that?
and then, I don't know if they go to Scott, I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
they still need, they can have all the applications they want, they still need approval of the Soil and Water
I
Commission.
believe it's recreation.
It
that
is
takes the
recreation.
applications, then they go
It's
to-
the same thing we've seen the Boy Scouts, the whatever, it goes through the recreation department,
Yes.
and then it comes to us.
But you abrogated your responsibility as a guardian of the aquifer when you say that, and when you voted to do it. You gave up your guardianship to a certain extent, and you weren't elected to do that.
Mr. Chairman, I'm really interested in the meter to cash report. Can we move on to that?
All right, we'll move along here to the meters to cash.
Yes, I had requested the bi-weekly report.
Yeah, you wanted the dates and everything for the, right, we're working on that.
You don't have any update, because we asked
Not-
for like 2-3 meetings, we asked the same.
Well, you asked at the last meeting, and I said, yeah, we'll get that for you.
You don't have it,
Not for this meeting, no.
but next meeting is the rate hearing meeting, so we can't work without that information.
Well, wait a minute, he doesn't have to wait to meetings to bring it to you. When could you
It
have
can be
it?
sent to you.
Well, no, wait, he will stop by and pick it up. When would it be ready?
We're working on it right now, so once it's done, we can email everybody on the board with the information you requested.
But he's worried about the timing.
I understand.
Because he's only
We can get that within a couple of days,
a couple of days.
Yeah.
So by the end of the week, he'll have it?
yes.
So
Okay.
you can call him on, what, Wednesday? Okay. Yeah, there's two other things, about the rate hearing, and then there's also this letter I just want to ask. You say you want that before the rate hearing? Or we
Yes,
have a
of
rate
course,
hearing?
because that defines how much we have collected and how much we have pumped. And most of the time, we discuss whether the billing is happening on time, or whether how
All right.
much rate floats from 1 year to another fiscal year.
So let's say if we tentatively agree to have a rate hearing at the next meeting, subject to you having all the information you need, we can always, we have to advertise it, what, 4 days? How many days?
I think a rate hearing, it's more than
2
a
weeks.
typical
Weeks, I
meeting.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We
we set
place
the
it in
date.
the paper.
All right,
Got to post it in the Hometown Weekly and all that stuff.
Yeah.
well, it's 2 days though. If you got it, what's the advertising date on the Hometown Weekly?
It's
What
2
day?
weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
For a rate hearing, it's different than a regular meeting. So that's why I would not wait. I would say,
All right,
pick
well,
the
let's pick
date.
a date. Do we have a date, Scott? Anything look
A date?
for a
Rate hearing.
2 weeks from now, or whatever it says it takes 2 weeks to get it through the news? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So what would you think? Then that would be,
If you have it like June 10th, we'd have to post it around May 27th.
okay. Want to do that, Bill? June 10th?
We do have to have a rate hearing, and
Pradeep? June
Yes.
10th, if he gets you the info this
Yep.
week? Yeah, okay. All right, we need a motion for that, you just want to agree we're doing it?
I'll make a motion that we have our rate hearing on June 10th, Terry? June 10th.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, 4-0. Okay, this, last thing before you leave.
We're not done yet. I sent you in the email a clipping from the Hometown Weekly concerning Fox Hill Drive, I think it is?
Yes.
Now, you know Fox Hill Drive starts at Route 1 and goes up into Foxborough, okay? On one side, there is now a storage facility, but it was considered for a different,
Cemetery.
yeah. Okay, we did a lot of research on that, found out that that would impact our water supply, okay? So, across the street on Fox Hill Drive, they're putting some type of a automotive shop or something. And that's fine, except that they have a paint booth there, and they want to exceed the household quantities of hazardous materials. And I don't think they should have that. I think that that should be prohibited
If I
from that
If I could,
particular.
that'll be on your next agenda.
I can't hear what?
That-
You're not on a mic.
That item will be on your next agenda. That came in very late after the,
They'll take it up at the next meeting?
yeah, that'll be on your next
It's on the
agenda.
agenda.
I know we can't vote on it tonight, but I just wanted to bring that up, that I'm very concerned about that, because it would look sort of strange if we did research and found out that 100 yards away, they can have toxic
Right,
material.
I believe that came in very late after the agenda had closed.
And are people
So we'll
aware
put it
of
on the
that?
next- For the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. We'll
Is
discuss
it from
it.
the Board of Health
Maybe.
or from, who's?
Zoning board, I believe it's seeking a special permit.
Right.
All right, now, that's an interesting point. Do we get, like, if people go in for permits along those lines, does the Board of Health and the zoning board automatically notify us about?
Yes, you guys are always party to the special permit.
Do we ever see this before?
Not that, not this particular project, I don't believe.
I don't think so either, but they told me they had sent it to us.
Sent it to the
Board of
town,
Appeals said they had
so
sent it to us.
I'm not sure that they sent it to the Sewer and Water Commission. The first
I
I've
don't-
seen of it was,
I-
I believe Terry came in today or,
I think that's enough to, when I saw it in the newspaper, it was
And it was
immediately a red
advertised, I
flag.
believe, for the zoning, the ZBA. I saw it in the paper also, but it was,
But you never heard of it before, did you?
no, that's the first time that I'd heard of it.
But
You know,
they
this
claimed they
particular
sent it to
project.
us.
Well, we will, it'll be on our next meeting.
No, that we sent it, already they had sent it to us.
I believe they sent it to the town, it wasn't,
Yeah.
I don't think Sewer and Water received it.
We probably should in that case.
The next thing I would just bring up for a minute is this letter that Terry sent out Friday maybe, from Wall Street about Brook Lane. We had a discussion back on
April,
April 8th. It was in our minutes.
right.
And there was a little, I guess, a little bit of a misunderstanding. I think Bill, you had made comments along the lines of the comments from the town engineer. This is whether to upgrade the water line from 6 inches to 8 inches in Brook Lane. And I think what he was saying, the builder was saying that he had reduced, the project had been reduced from a 40B to 32 units down to 15 regular houses, regular units, and that he would do what the town engineer wanted if Sewer and Water thought it was needed, the upgrade for the water from 8,
It was
from 6.
6 to 8.
6 to 8. And Jeff said that we would have to look at how long it was before the road, the pipes would be replaced on the road. I don't know how long old Brook Lane is, it's probably now over 50 years old, is it?
I would say it's in excess of 50 years old,
Yeah. So,
probably installed in the 50s.
yeah. So, I mean, I guess,
It makes good sense to replace it.
well,
And I think the issue was Mr. Petrosi was saying, well, we'll do that, but we'd want to break on the entrance fees,
I think
whatever.
Carl suggested it, because he said Carl wanted it. So
Yes.
he was coming here more or less trying to see how, they wanted our opinion about what Carl had recommended. And I think Jeff was saying, he isn't here to,
Right.
that his comments was something, it was 10 to 25 years yet to go, then why do it? I kind of agree, his thought, my thinking process is, and maybe I'm, just a minority idea, but I do know when you tear up a road for a pipe like that, there are unforeseen things that happen. There are other connections, there's other utilities under there, there's other stormwater, there's all other stuff you're disturbing. It's like when you open up, that's what surgeons say, when you open up the cavity, you expose every damn organ in the body, even though you're only going for one thing. So the question is, you really want them to do it. you want him to do it, what would be an appropriate, and I'm not saying we should decide this tonight, but I'm just pointing out this was his inquiry. What kind of accommodation was Carl thinking of far as the value?
I don't believe Carl was thinking any accommodation.
No, I don't think he was
No,
either.
Carl was just thinking, just replace it, for no consideration. Why would we give consideration? There's no mutual, why? Why?
Because it doesn't need new water.
So Terry, when did he send you that letter? When did you send that letter
I
to the
sent it out
commission?
today, I think he sent it on
Yeah.
Friday,
May
Did
10th.
he send it to you, or did Terry send it to
No,
you?
Terry sent it to me.
today. No,
Okay, because it was supposed to be on the next agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, it
mean, I-
is, I'm just trying to recall.
So I don't know how we're talking about something that's not on the agenda, is my point.
I mean, if he was
Okay,
here,
well,
I would
won't,
just...
I don't want to take action anyway, because Jeff isn't here, so
Right.
I'm just pointing it out, because the letter came in.
It's not on the agenda.
We do it all the time.
We shouldn't.
Well, I know, but Terry, if it's your business, we always take it as, oh, this is the latest submission. I mean, that's okay. I just wanted, it is,
See, here's the problem, there's a process in place with agendas and things like that. Certain people, certain developers don't think the rules that apply to them, okay? And that's exactly what happened here.
okay, all right.
This is not
See,
the first
okay, so
time.
we're all set. Anybody else have any other business?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, so moved and seconded.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
4-0, thank you.
All right.